everyone. Good morning. Not so good morning. I'm not a little bit. I'm quite disappointed with the roster. We're going to talk about it quite a bit. There's a lot of players that are missing, and I understand people are going to come with a bullshit excuse that the players need to rest after a rough season during in Europe or whatever. There are players that will be playing the Club World Cup at a very high level that had a very rough season, a much tougher season than a lot of our players, and they're still going to be playing. They're going to be fine. I think a few of our players going to the Gold Cup, or at least going to the friendlies against Switzerland and Turkey, would have been quite important. And they can miss part of preseason or those stupid preseason tours that European clubs do just to make money. But anyhow, let's talk about the roster. And as we go, I will mention like many names that are missing, and the excuse mainly is not really injuries. It's pretty much that they just need a rest. They just need a little bit of a nap, so they're not going to go. And keep in mind, we are 1 year away from the biggest World Cup in USMNT history, and the players need to take some time off. And I understand you need them fit, you need them healthy, you need them ready for the World Cup, but you kind of need to prepare. This is the last set of competitive games that we have until the World Cup. There's no World Cup qualifying. It has been a disastrous cycle, right? We've gone through like 4 coaches. Sure, 2 of them were interim coaches. It was like Anthony Hudson, BJ Callahan, then the one we shall not name, and now Mauricio Pochettino. That's really starting to piss me off at this point. But anyhow, let's dive into the roster, and then I can, vent. This stream is essentially the vent. It's not all bad, the roster. There's a few names that I'm happy to see them there, but overall, I'm very disappointed with Pochettino naming a 27-player roster for the training camp ahead of June matches against Turkey and Switzerland. So they're saying this is for the Turkey and Switzerland camp, but it's pretty much the Gold Cup roster. The only difference is for the Gold Cup, he can only take 27 players, which means he's going to cut 1. As you're going to see in the roster, let me scroll down so we can look at the roster. There are 4 goalkeepers, so he's probably going to cut 1 goalkeeper, and then you have your Gold Cup roster. Let's read here what they had to say. USMNT head coach Mauricio Pochettino has named a 27-player training camp roster ahead of the matches against Turkey and Switzerland. Players begin reporting June 2nd to Chicago to start preparation for the summer. So again, the matches will provide the USMNT with one of the few opportunities to face European opposition before the World Cup, and will serve as the team's final tune-up before competing in the 2025 CONCACAF Gold Cup. Winning the Gold Cup is extremely important, in my opinion. We need to continue. Well, we lost the last one, and we lost the Nations League, so not continue. But we need to dominate our region, and we need to prepare for the World Cup. And right now, with this roster, dominating the region will be a problem. Can we still win the Gold Cup? Yes, it is a garbage competition in terms of the teams you face, right? Like Mexico, Canada will also be missing Alphonso Davies, even though I think Canada is probably among the favorites with Mexico to win it. But that's a different discussion when we do a prediction video. But I mean, at some point, I thought we were going to take it seriously. I'm a fool. That's what I am. I'm a complete idiot for believing in this program. And they go on, and this is what Pochettino had to say. As we continue preparations for the World Cup, this is a fantastic opportunity to work with this group of players for an extended period of time, and it's important we take advantage of every moment we have together. Exactly. You freaking bloody Muppet. That's the point that I'm trying to make. It was extremely important to work with all the players that are very likely to be in the World Cup, which includes an Anthony Robinson, a Christian Pulisic, players that are not in this roster. But we'll talk about that in a second. And Pochettino said, of course, we want to win and perform in a very good way. These players have earned the chance to compete. I don't know about all these players. I don't think all these players have earned it in terms of their level, their talent, how good they are. But we'll get to that. For our fans to show their quality and mentality. It's been a while since we've seen quality and mentality coming from this team. It's been a team that fans have grown to despise. It's been a team that fans have grown to just like ignore. It's not even hate anymore. They just have ignored it. Let's just go through the roster then. Let's just go through the roster. Everything else is just a load of crap. So The goalkeepers, we have Matt Freese from New York City FC, Patrick Schulte from the Columbus Crew, Zach Steffen from the Colorado Rapids, and Matt Turner from Crystal Palace. In terms of goalkeepers, I did a prediction video. We're not very strong when it comes to goalkeepers these days, which is a bit odd because the U.S. used to be very good. That used to be a position of strength. Not the case anymore. In terms of who he called up for the goalkeepers, I can't really complain. That's more or less what we got. You could try to make a case for Ethan Horvath. I don't think he's even better than any of the options there. I don't think it would really matter, or that he should bring a very young Diego Cochin. Sure, that's not really going to be impactful right now. So again, he's going to cut one of these goalkeepers. My guess is that he will cut Matt Freese unless Zach Steffen gets injured for the 200th time, which it seems to happen every single time. But that one is not really the problem with this roster. But as soon as we start scrolling down and we go to like defenders, midfielders, and forwards, and let me get a sip of my coffee here because I need all the energy I can get. I was up till like 2 a.m. yesterday working on the TST team that we have a tournament coming up. If you guys don't know, the TST, we're going to play for $1 million in North Carolina. If you guys are going to the TST, let us know in the comment section. But defenders. Max Arfsten from the Columbus Crew, which I've talked about this in the past. As far as I know, as far as I'm concerned, I thought he was a winger. Maybe I'm just an idiot. He can play fullback. I know that. But Max Arfsten makes the roster. Why? I don't know. It's not really a player that we probably should be taking to the World Cup. Maybe it'll be a good opportunity to test Caleb Wiley, a young, promising left back that did very well in MLS and held his own pretty well in the EFL Championship with Watford. But we're giving Max Arfsten another chance here. Serginho Dest from PSV. Welcome back, Dest. That's a good call-up. It's good to see Serginho Dest back with the national team. Alex Freeman from Orlando City. Talented fullback. Talented player, Alex. It's not really a call-up that I hate. And this is not me being biased towards Orlando City. I don't hate it because we're giving opportunity to a promising young player that has played well. So Alex Freeman, I don't hate. Obviously, one name missing here is Joe Scally, and as a right back, and they're going to say they're resting him for the summer. I don't agree. I don't agree with that. I don't think he should be rested. I think these guys should be playing. They can still take 2 weeks off after and miss a little bit of preseason. But anyhow, Joe Scally's not here as well. So then you got Daejuan Jones from the San Jose Earthquakes. We've seen Daejuan Jones. He's a fine MLS player. I don't think we should be going to the World Cup with him. So it's not really a call-up that I support. And Anthony Robinson is obviously not here, our best fullback. Anthony Robinson that had a fantastic season for Fulham. He's going to rest. These guys are just all going to rest. They need their rest, right? So Anthony Robinson is not here. That's another call-up that I don't agree with. It's very weird to me because I follow Brazil and I follow the U.S. men's national team. And it's very rare, if it ever happens, that a Brazilian player rejects a call-up or doesn't get called in to rest, especially in a competitive tournament because the Gold Cup is technically the Copa America, right, of CONCACAF. But with the U.S. men's national team, it seems like it's their thing of just like, I need a rest. I'm just going to rest. All right, let's move on here. Sorry, guys, if I'm a little like low energy. I'm just being honest with you. I'm going to follow this team till the end. I'm going to cover them in the Gold Cup, cover them in the World Cup. I still want to believe things are going to go well, but I am a little dismotivated, and I'm just kind of like tired of this generation. I think you guys share this sentiment. But anyhow, if you could kindly smash the like button right now in this stream, I would appreciate it. Let's try to hit 300 likes. It's a great way to support the channel. Thank you for that. If you don't want to do it, that's fine. Okay, do whatever you want. Mark McKenzie from Toulouse gets called in. That's fair. Tim Ream. I know we've seen enough of Tim Ream, but with the options given, and we're not calling in Noah Kai Banks, center back from Augsburg. We're not calling in Cameron Carter-Vickers. We're not calling him Austin Trusty. So it makes sense that Tim Ream is there. Chris Richards, that was very good for Crystal Palace last week, by the way, against Manchester City, helping them win the FA Cup. Obviously, he has to be there. And then Miles Robinson is here. God knows why. We've seen enough of Miles. It's not a player that we should probably trust to play in the World Cup, but Miles Robinson from Cincinnati is here. It probably would be a great opportunity to give a shot to Noah Kai Banks. Just call him up. Give the young player a shot. Give him a look. Give him some experience. but we went with Miles Robinson, and definitely he didn't call up. There's no excuse for not calling Noah Kai Banks because I believe is he healthy now? I believe Noah Kai Banks is healthy now. Henri Chase was the one that was injured, but anyhow, in terms of Noah Kai Banks, he didn't really play that many minutes for Augsburg this season, so you might as well give him a shot. Um, but let's go to the midfield here. And we're bringing in 10 midfielders. Brendan Aronson, because Pochettino sees him as a 10. Tyler Adams, good to see Tyler with the national team. Sebastian Berhalter. So Berhalter's back with the national team. The son of Greg Berhalter's back is with the national team, Sebastian Berhalter. To be fair, Greg Berhalter's one thing, Sebastian is another. And Sebastian Berhalter has been good for the Vancouver Whitecaps. I do think that we had other players that should have been there, and they're not there. Tanner Tessman, he's not in the roster. Gio Reyna, why is Gio Reyna not in the roster? They're going to say, oh, because he has the Club World Cup with Dortmund. Please, Dortmund doesn't play him. They should 100% be able to release him. And as far as I know, he's supposed to leave Dortmund. But Gio Reyna is not here too. He wasn't even in the pre-list, right? Many other players that are missing, but Sebastian Berhalter makes the roster. I believe Sebastian is 23 right now. So he's not old, but he's also not young by any means. He has been good for Vancouver. That credit has to be given when it's due. But it's not a player that I think. Well, we'll see. We'll see. Whatever. Johnny Cardoso makes it. It's kind of funny because Johnny has played a lot of minutes for Real Betis. A ton of minutes for Real Betis. And he's there. But Anthony Robinson's not there. Christian Pulisic's not there. God, Yunus Musa is not in the roster. What do we do? Is he being rested too, Musa? Doesn't even play all the time for Milan. Doesn't make sense. Doesn't make sense. I don't know what the criteria is. I would love to hear from Pochettino, but we'll see. Luca De La Torre makes the roster. He's back. He's been playing for San Diego in Major League Soccer. We know Luca, right? Player that can be a depth piece. We'll see. Diego Luna is there, rightfully so. One player that has most certainly earned it. So Diego Luna is there. Jack McGlynn makes the roster from the Houston Dynamo. So McGlynn, I've talked about him before. It's a player that definitely talented, but I'm not very high on Jack McGlynn. Diego Luna should be there 100%. Jack McGlynn, I was hoping we would see Tanner Tessman or Gianluca Busio with this team, but they're not there. I don't know why. Quinn Sullivan from the Philadelphia Union makes the roster as a midfielder, which is a bit odd. I probably would see him more as a winger here in this roster, but he's listed as a midfielder, Quinn Sullivan. I believe Quinn is probably 22 right now, 21. It's not a player that I see a high ceiling, but a young prospect that you want to give him a shot, give him a shot. I don't think he'll make the 2026 roster, but it's not something to really hate too much. Then Malik Tillman gets a shot, and hopefully Malik Tillman finally performs for the national team. In this midfield, there are two players that I think they really need to take advantage of this whole summer. Johnny Cardoso and Malik Tillman are two players that are playing at a very high level for their clubs. Johnny's very close to moving to Atletico Madrid. There's a legitimate offer, and Simeone wants him with Atletico Madrid. And Malik Tillman has been tremendous for PSV and probably will get a move as well. When it comes to national team, we haven't really seen these guys stand out, which they should be standing out based on the level they play for their club. This summer, considering all the players we're missing, Johnny and Tillman have to perform this summer. They really have to do it. Maybe we'll see a midfield with Johnny, Tyler, and Tillman. And that's an interesting midfield, right? If we see that in the Gold Cup, that is an interesting midfield. And then last but not least, we have Sean Zawadzki from the Columbus Crew making this roster. God knows why. God knows why. 25-year-old MLS player that I don't think should be here anyway. Sean Zawadzki makes it. I really don't know what to say about this. So, again, I talked about like other players from MLS, like Sebastian Berhalter. I get it. Diego Luna has earned it. McGlynn, probably not high on him, but I get it. Quinn Sullivan, I'm a little confused with that, but it's okay. But Sean Zawadzki, I don't know. Forwards, we have 5 forwards. Patrick Aguiman makes it back. Again, another player that I'm not very high on. He makes it. Fullerton Balogun is back. Thank goodness. Thank goodness Balogun is back. We get our best center forward back with the team. Damian Downs, if I'm not mistaken, he got promoted to the Bundesliga with Cologne, or Cologne, whatever way you pronounce his team's name in Germany. And I talked about Damian Downs before. I haven't watched him. So it's a call up that I like, not because I'm saying I rate him. I don't know much about him besides stats and highlights, right? And I don't like talking about players that I haven't really watched a full game, get a full picture of the player. So I like this call up because I want to see what Damian Downs can offer. He's a center forward, okay? And I'm interested in seeing what he can offer. I'm not saying he's good. I'm not saying he's bad, okay? I am interested in the mystery that is Damian Downs, if that makes any sense. Then we have Brian White. He's back with the national team. Brian White's back. He's there. And then we have Haji Wright. What's interesting about this team here is the lack of wingers, right? Patrick Aguiman is not a winger. Balogun is not a winger. Damian Downs is not a winger. Brian White is not a winger. Haji Wright is a winger. And then when you look at the midfielders, I guess Quinn Sullivan, to me, is more of a winger than a midfielder. Brendan Aronson can play as a winger. Diego Luna can play out wide too, but there is a lack of wingers, like true wingers in this roster, especially when we don't have Christian Pulisic that is just going to go to Miami for a vacation. They're going to say Pulisic's injured. That's what they're going to say. But I mean, whatever. What am I going to argue with? What if the guy is actually injured? We don't have Weah and McKennie. Weah and McKennie will be in the Club World Cup with Juventus. That's why they're not there. McKennie might have a knee injury. There's no update on that yet. He did get injured the last Juve game. We're not sure what's going on there. But regardless, even if McKennie's fully fit, he's going to be with Juventus in the Club World Cup. But this is the roster. I'm going to go through now the super chats here. If you guys just made it, the roster's on screen. I'm not happy about it. I'm sorry. I really want to be excited for this team. We also are here's a player that's missing. Where's Paxton Aronson? How does this guy not get a shot? Like, why are you bringing Sean Zawadzki, which is a waste of a roster spot, and we don't have Paxton that's been really good in the Eredivisie for Utrecht? That's another good question to ask. I'm not saying Paxton is the solution to our problems, our savior. He's going to save this team from what is a complete shit show. But why is Paxton never getting a shot? Just to see what he can do with the national team. It's very weird. It's very odd. Maybe he has explosive diarrhea. That'll do. I mean, have you ever tried playing soccer with explosive diarrhea? It doesn't really go well. It really doesn't go well. So it's been an awful preparation for the World Cup. I'll tell you that. Maybe what Pochettino's trying to do is trying to set the bar so low, so freaking low, that when the U.S. men's national team gets out of the group in the World Cup, we're just going to be relieved. We're just going to be so happy about it. That might be why. Albert is saying in the super chat, I graduated college on Sunday. Congratulations, Albert. Congratulations. And he said, just for Pochettino to ruin the rest of my week. Pochettino out if we stink this summer. That is a serious conversation to have. And I talked about this with Pete. When we hired Pochettino, it's to go all the way through the World Cup, right? Now, let me ask you guys a question in the chat here. Is there a scenario this summer where you would consider firing Pochettino? I'm actually going to have a video with Herc Gomez about this. Is there any scenario that you would consider firing Pochettino this summer? I know it's a bit crazy, and honestly, I'm definitely leaning to no, we have to keep him to the World Cup. But is there anything that could happen this summer that you would consider, hey, maybe this is not the guy, and there's still a year, maybe you can still turn this ship? Yeah, we'll see. Let me know your thoughts. Kyle is saying, where is Alejandro Zendejas? And Luna is the new 10 for the U.S. I think Luna might be the 10 for this one. I mean, Malik Tillman might play also the 10. We'll see how that goes. But Luna might have the number 10. Who knows? Because Pulisic's not there. Zendejas probably wasn't called up because of the Club World Cup. Club America has a playoff round against LAFC, I think next week, right? I think it's next week. And if Club America wins, they're going to the Club World Cup. So I think that's why Zendejas didn't make the roster. Because, yes, in terms of like wingers in this roster, Zendejas probably would start for the U.S. Don't Be Greedy says, tell me you don't care about the team you coach without telling me. Should have hired Marsh. Yeah, I think Pochettino is a more qualified coach than Marsh. He's probably a better coach than Marsh, for sure. But caring is kind of important. And Pochettino hasn't shown us that he cares about this team at all so far. It's been quite disappointing. And that's why I'm talking about even like, is there a scenario where you consider firing Pochettino this summer depending on what happens, right? And I think there is. I think there is a few scenarios. And I'm going to be talking with Hurt Gomez tomorrow about this. And we're releasing episodes on that next week. It may sound crazy, but there are a few scenarios where something very drastic could happen. Realistic scenarios, by the way. USMNT reports saying Zawadzki over Paxton is mind blowing. Yep, I talked about that in the stream. It doesn't make sense to waste a roster spot on Sean Zawadzki when you have like a Paxton Aronson at home, or even Tanner Tessman, like for the matter, like any of these guys. It doesn't make sense. Albert is saying, Tack, World Cup is in the summer after another long season. Exactly. That's a good point, too. All these players are resting this summer. Next summer, we have the World Cup. Is Pulisic going to take the summer off for the World Cup to go to Miami? I don't get it, man. And by the way, before anyone says, oh, Pulisic's injured, I am just saying what was reported. According to Doug McIntyre, I think it was him that released it. It was because Pulisic played a lot of minutes. I can put it up. Like, I'm pretty sure it was Doug McIntyre. Let me pull up the tweet. Sure, they could come out tomorrow and change the narrative, just saying that what's his name? That Pulisic is injured. But what okay, so Doug McIntyre yesterday, what did he say? That Pulisic will not be, so Pulisic's not in the squad because he had a tough season or had a lot of minutes. I'm going to read for you guys what Doug McIntyre just posted. Okay, here it is. You guys might like Pulisic even less after this one, if you guys are already pissed. So Doug McIntyre just posted this, saying, statement from U.S. Soccer Sporting Director Matt Crocker on Christian Pulisic missing the Gold Cup. And this is what Crocker had to say. Christian and his team approached the federation and coaching staff about the possibility of stepping back this summer, given the amount of matches that he has played in the past 2 years at both club and international level with very little break. After thoughtful discussions and careful consideration, we made the collective decision that is the right move for him to get the rest he needs. The objective is to ensure that he's fully prepared to perform at the highest level next season. Matt Crocker, U.S. Soccer. So this is the same Christian Pulisic that when we lost the Copa America, let me put the video. I'm going to put the video. Like, now let's really dive into it. He said that this national team is everything for him, right? Where's the video? I'm going to find it here. Give me 1 second. I'm going to find this video where Christian Pulisic says that the national team is everything for him. And I'll put it right here. This is the video where Christian Pulisic at CBS. I'm not going to play the video. I don't feel like CBS possibly like giving me a copyright strike. But he said, this team is everything to me. I care so much for this team, this country. I hope people know that about me. I mean, look, words are pretty and all. Very beautiful speech. Wonderful speech right there, actually. But actions kind of speak louder than words. And it doesn't feel like that, right? It just doesn't feel like that for Christian Pulisic. I could be wrong. I'm open to being wrong. I hope I'm wrong because he is our best player and he's the most talented player we've ever had. But you can't tell me that this team is everything for you. And then when you have the opportunity to make a statement after an embarrassing Copa America from Pulisic too, an embarrassing Nations League from the USMNT and Christian Pulisic, he has the opportunity in the Gold Cup to bounce back, win a trophy, and show the fans he cares and get everyone hyped up and ready for the World Cup. He decides to take the summer off to prepare for probably a very meaningless preseason tour with Milan. I'm sorry, man. Like, I don't want to hate on Christian Pulisic. He's one of my favorite players, and I watch him every week for Milan. It's just hard. It's just hard, man. And then we see some comments. Let's see. And then 305 saying, what happened if he gets injured? You mean what happens if he gets injured? I mean, if you're a professional soccer player, you can get injured in practice. You can get injured in any game. You can get injured in a friendly. You can't not play because you could get injured. These are competitive games. There's always a risk of injury. I hope he doesn't get injured, but there's always a risk of injury. It just seems like people don't care. Actions speak a lot louder than words, and I'm sorry, Christian Pulisic. This doesn't look good. And then let's see. Um, Miguel saying, is there a chance the players don't want to play for Pochettino? I mean, like, here's the thing. Even if they don't want to play for Pochettino, do you not want to play for your country? Isn't that bigger? Like, do you not want to play for your country? I don't know, man. I don't think that's an excuse. Let's say they hate Pochettino. Well, for you to play for the U.S. men's national team, he's the coach right now. Do you not want to play for your national team? We had Reina play for Berhalter. I'm sure he doesn't like Berhalter. 80s nostalgia guy saying Pochettino loses the Gold Cup. Should he be fired? That is part of the conversation that I want to have. It's not just about if he loses it. Let's say he loses in the semifinals. He loses it very early after very poor friendlies, a terrible Nations League, worse than Berhalter. Because think about it this way, and you guys know I'm one of the biggest Berhalter haters out there. Imagine if Berhalter lost the Nations League and the Gold Cup. He would be scrutinized. People would want him fired. Like, we can give Pochettino time, but at some point the performances have to get better. We're getting close to the World Cup. So should Pochettino get fired if we lose the Gold Cup? I think it depends on how we lose. Let's say we make it to the final and we lose to Canada and Mexico playing well, 2-1. But we play well. It's a good game. Or lose on penalties. I think firing is a bit too extreme. But let's say we look like complete and utter shit the whole Gold Cup and we lose to Saudi Arabia in the quarterfinals or semifinals. I think we should have that conversation. Like, is this the right guy? Is he qualified? Good resume? Yes. But the results are not showing up. So maybe he wasn't the right hire. So it is an uncomfortable conversation that we might have to have depending on how things go. And bruh says, being American and United fan is killing me. Oh, if you're a Manchester United fan, man, it's been a rough, like 15 years. And U.S. men's national team, it's been a rough almost forever. They're saying 4 goalkeepers, no Brian Gutierrez, no Paxton, no Tanner Tessman. Yeah, I mean, the 4 goalkeepers, it's fine because he's going to have to cut one anyway. So that one is not where I have the major issue. It's just players like Sean Zawadzki that he's called up over Paxton, for example. I don't know why. The new era is saying even Ochoa might start over Turner. You mean Memo Ochoa? Memo Ochoa? Did Mexico? They're not calling him up. Kylo saying, breaking news, Pulisic requested time off in the summer of 2026. Good for him. Hopefully he has a good summer. Christian Pulisic. SVG, apparently this is what he cares about the most, the national team, but he has to go to the preseason tour with Milan. Where's Paxton, John Token, Maloney with the absences? Yeah, Maloney has never got called in by Pochettino. He doesn't seem to rate Maloney. Maloney also hasn't been playing much for Mainz, so I kind of get it. Yeah, Token. Token is, who did he bring also for the fullbacks? He brought Dejuan Jones, Max Arfston. Yeah, is Token better than Arfston? Maybe as a left back, Arfston might be better attacking. I think Arfston's more of a winger, right? So we aren't even testing out the right players. Yeah, that's another issue. This was a summer because, for example, we talked about Tanner Tessman. He hasn't proven that he can play well for the national team yet. Shouldn't he be here? I don't get it, man. Like I said, at least I'm looking forward to a Tyler Adams, Johnny Malik Tillman midfield. That'll be interesting. Let's see what Alex Freeman can do. Promising fullback. Balogun returning for the national team. Damian Downs is an interesting one. But overall, yeah, it's a very underwhelming roster. It's pretty sad. John Johnstone, why is the 0-2 USMNT good? Because the team had chemistry. Not just that. The players cared. The players cared a lot. They really wanted to play for the national team. All of our previous generations wanted to a lot. And we need to build chemistry. You are right. We need to have the players play together more, build chemistry, play together, learn their weaknesses, strengths. And we're not doing that. We're building a Frankenstein-like roster, just like putting some random parts together and testing players that shouldn't be tested. Kylo is saying his TV is going to show need filter for the next episode. What TV? Kylo, what TV? And everyone, if you just tuned in, make sure to drop a like. We already went through this roster. That's a bit of a nightmare. I was expecting an A roster. We got more of like a mix of a B and A roster for this summer. Not very happy about it. Mizael saying the only MLS guys who are somewhat intriguing are Sullivan, Luna, McGlynn, Berhalter, and Freeman. Yeah, I'm not very intrigued about Sullivan and McGlynn, to be honest. Luna, yes. Freeman, yes. Berhalter, first time he gets called in, I do want to see how he does, but I've seen enough of Sullivan and McGlynn that I'd say they're good players. They're good players, but I'm not really intrigued. I don't see them making the World Cup roster. Rocco's saying it's a chance for other players to step up. But Rocco, sure, but I kind of disagree with that because we're playing in the Gold Cup and we want our best players, which we know who are mainly our best players are, to build chemistry. And let me ask you one thing. If it's a player that the Gold Cup's level is much lower than the World Cup. So let's say a player like Max Arfsten just like stands out in the Gold Cup. Then he locks in a spot for the World Cup. Is he good enough for that? Is he better than A-Rob? Is he like obviously he's not going to get a call up over A-Rob. I'm over exaggerating to make a point. The problem is very often these tournaments, you want to just play your best players so they can actually have the ball, build chemistry, play together, because these other players that you're bringing, even if they do stand out, this is not a real test in terms of the opposition that you're facing outside of like Mexico, Canada, I guess Saudi Arabia. That's not a bad team because they're going to be in the Gold Cup, and got to respect Saudi Arabia. They paid a lot of money to be here. You got to respect them. So I don't know, man. Like, I don't fully agree with that. Alexander Mantu say investigate Pochettino for sabotaging the Columbus Crew. The Columbus Crew, if we really want to sabotage them, we should probably take their coach, Wilfred Nancy. If we really want to sabotage, that's what we should do. Saying if Pochettino won't recruit, the Federation needs to. What the F? Like, I wonder what he did with Nathaniel Brown, because Nathaniel Brown is with Germany's U21s. Nathaniel Brown would be our best left back in this roster. He would also be our best winger in this roster, Nathaniel Brown. Sure, if Pochettino called him and he said, hey, I don't want to play for the U.S., I want Germany, that's fine. But, I mean, Nathaniel Brown would be a great player to have. Antonio Yacht saying maybe Pulisic moves to a team in the Club World Cup. I doubt it. Right now, the Club World Cup teams, they arrive next week. So unless you think they're going to be able to negotiate him, like right now, super quick, Milan, I doubt it. And they would have said it. They would have said it that Pulisic is on the move or something. Because the statement of Pulisic wanting to rest doesn't go out well, right? Berhalter cooked Messi and Liga MX teams. Yeah, Sebastian, I said this. Sebastian Berhalter has been playing very well for Vancouver. I am a little bit intrigued to see what he can do, Sebastian Berhalter. He did play well. Of course, it's MLS and all that, but he has played well. Okay, everyone, drop a like before you go. Thank you very much for watching. Next week, we have 2 episodes with Herc Gomez. One about, is there a chance that Pochettino will get fired? The other one is why the U.S. men's national team never had a world-class player. We're recording with Herc. It's going to be good. It's going to be big. It's going to be great. And then on the other week, we're going to do our best to cover every USMNT game. But remember, we're going to be in the TST with Tactical Manager SC, competing for $1 million. The games will be on YouTube, so keep an eye out for that at the TST 7beat7 channel. Our games will be on YouTube if you want to watch. Be loud in the chat. Banter. Just destroy the opposition. Be rude. Be terrible in the chat. I want you guys to be nasty. And that's pretty much it. So we're going to be in the TST. I'll try to cover the USMNT while we're there, but we're going to be good for the Gold Cup because we're going to be back in Florida to cover it. And everyone, please get those likes up. We don't even have 200 likes in this stream, and we've had over 700 people. I want to thank you all very much for watching. Thank you for tuning in. And I guess that's all. We're going to cover the USMNT this summer. It's been rough, but I guess stay strong. And I guess like believe, right? I have this sign here for a reason. Let's try to believe that we can do something special in 2026. All right. Ciao. See you guys next week.